morning, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mitch. It was a great first round of the NFL draft, so always fun to watch that fun stuff.
I got to admit, I went to bed at 6 like I usually do because I got to wake up and do this show. But I'm glad you watched it, and I have taken a recap here. So Bryce Young goes first to the Panthers. He's tiny. What are your thoughts?
Number one, here's a shocker for everyone out there. This was the first ever Alabama quarterback taken number one, which we're talking about a dynasty college football team, whether you like Bama or not. Just was shocking when I heard that last night. I like Bryce. I think he's proven that. I mean, you look at Tua, he's not a big QB, but he's doing big things in Miami as a Dolphin. So I think Bryce has a great future ahead of him. It's just hard being a rookie QB drafted number one on a rebuilding Carolina Panther team. So you just hope that he has a good O-line and doesn't do what so many rookie quarterbacks come in who will probably be expected to start and get crushed his first season.
Well, yeah, you bring up Tua, and Tua has been good, especially last year when they had all those weapons around him. But Tua also has had injury problems, including concussion issues, which had him contemplating retirement at the age of, 25. So is that a concern for Bryce Young here?
Bryce does not have the concussion issues. Tua had those coming into pro football. So it'll be interesting. But again, I've talked to many NFL players, even his teammates, and there's other first-round draft picks on the Dolphins from just 2 years ago that were medically retired and came back into college football and then were drafted in the first round. So concussions being an issue, yes, but the NFL is working on that. So I think that is we'll always have to worry about it. Football's a violent sport. Let's just face it. There isn't an NFL player out there that'll tell you that it's just a happy little sport besides maybe a field goal kicker. But everybody else will tell you it's a very violent sport.
Oh, field goal kickers, man. The life. Let's talk about other QBs now. C.J. Stroud goes number 2 to the Texans. Anthony Richardson out of Florida. He goes 4th to Indianapolis. Those two are going to be in the same division. Will Levis had the Aaron Rodgers night where he just kept sliding. Geno Smith experienced that too a few years back. Not getting drafted, he will likely be off the board pretty early tonight in the second round. But what did you make of the rest of the QBs and where they went?
I'm glad you brought up Will. A crazy story, right? With ESPN putting out all their numbers, you start the draft last night and they're like, he's going to go top 4. I mean, you're hearing the Colts are going to draft him, and then you just watch him slide, and of course you just feel bad for him because then they put the camera on him all night, and you're just watching just slide until you get to that last pick, and then you're remembering Lamar Jackson going through the same thing with his mom with his head down on the table, and you're like, they're not going to go after they've hyped this poor kid the whole night. So interesting with QBs. I was shocked. I went for the carrot on the stick method with watching Will and his combine and everything he's done. I think it's odd some teams didn't pick up quarterbacks when they needed, but remember, there's a lot of draft picks out there. Both the Texans and the Raiders had the most. The Dolphins, interesting enough, did not have a first-round draft pick. They have the fewest picks out of all the teams because they're facing their punishment for their meddling the last season with tampering and all the other fun things the Dolphins have been accused of.
Yeah, they were trying to bring in Tom Brady, and it really bit them. That's why there were only 31 picks, and that's why the first pick of the second round is going to be pick 32 tonight. Well, let's talk about trades, though. I think it feels like the Panthers sort of set the tone for this draft by trading with the Bears to get the number 1 overall pick. Then you have the Texans trading up from 12 and giving away a boatload of picks to get back to number 3 to get Will Anderson. What did you make of all of the trades last night? Because there were a lot of them for one round of NFL draft.
But we were expecting that. That was the rumors and all the buzz that I had heard coming up until yesterday was there was going to be a lot of movement on the board. People really wanted to go around, and there's this push for teams that haven't performed well, that used to be good, to move up the board. And the Texans, let's just face it, they're in a state, and I live in it, that they're the other football team in Texas. Obviously, America's team is right down the street from my house, so they're the huge team everybody talks about, but the Texans really want to put respect behind their name. They went and made moves to make sure that they have a team that they can build off of and stop this constant rebuilding process that you hear. Saw the same thing with Carolina. You see the same thing with the Colts, right? The Colts have embarrassed themselves with quarterbacks over the last few seasons, bringing in big names that haven't delivered. So those teams went out to make sure that they can show their fan base, which the NFL is hugely based off on, to get their fans fun players to watch in a future and start that redevelopment and rebuilding right now with players that could come in and do their job. There's a lot of big linemen that got moved around this last night that I think are going to make a huge difference. The Cowboys picked themselves up a big player who's like, I'm a big guy, I'm a big dog, I'm ready to do my job. That's what you want to hear as a fan, and that's what their teammates want to hear, is players who are ready to come in right now and have an effect in the current season coming up.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.